used to work night shifts at a corporate office building in New Jersey, one of those modern glass and steel structures that look beautiful during the day, but turn unnervingly silent after midnight. The building had 5 floors, an underground parking garage, and a 24-hour security system. My shift started at 10 p.m. and ended at 6 in the morning. Most nights were uneventful. I'd patrol the floors every hour, check the surveillance monitors, and log my rounds. It was boring, sure, but easy money. Until one night changed everything. It was around 1:30 a.m. when I noticed something strange. On the camera feed, one of the garage cameras showed a man walking slowly between parked cars. He wasn't wearing a uniform or visitor badge, and I hadn't logged any entries after midnight. At first, I thought maybe one of the cleaning staff came in through the wrong entrance. I radioed the janitor team, no answer. Then I checked the employee roster. No one was scheduled to be there. The man's movements were odd too. He wasn't looking for an exit or his car. He was just pacing slowly, head tilted toward the ceiling as if listening for something. I grabbed my flashlight and headed down to the garage through the elevator. The moment the doors opened, nothing. The place was empty. No footsteps, no sound, just the faint hum of the ventilation. I even checked under the stairwell and behind the pillars. Still nothing. When I got back to the control room, my stomach dropped. The same man was back on the monitor, same camera, same spot. I'm walking the exact same path. But this time, the timestamp showed 5 minutes ago when I was already down there. That didn't make sense. I replayed the clip and froze it. The man's shoes left faint wet marks on the concrete, but when I checked the footage closely, the water pattern wasn't consistent. It almost looked like the reflection was delayed, like the image was lagging behind his steps. A chill ran down my spine. I decided to double-check the floor in person again. When I reached the bottom of the stairwell, I noticed something new. Bare, wet footprints on the floor. Not shoe prints, bare feet. They started near the garage entrance and led toward the elevator I'd just taken. I followed them slowly, my flashlight shaking slightly in my hand. The prints stopped right in front of the elevator doors and vanished. I hit the button. The doors opened, empty. I stepped inside, turned to face the camera, and that's when I saw it in the reflection of the metal door, a faint silhouette standing behind me at the far end of the garage. I spun around. No one there. I bolted for the control room. My hands were trembling as I rewound the footage again. But this time, all the feeds showed static. Every camera that had captured the figure was corrupted, covered in white noise. The next morning, I filed a report and handed in my resignation. The company reviewed the footage but found nothing except a few seconds of distortion. To this day, I still can't explain what I saw, but I know one thing. Whatever was walking in that garage, it wasn't supposed to be there. I've been with my security company for almost 6 years now. Over time, I've earned seniority, certifications, and trust, which means I usually get to pick my own shifts. I normally prefer early mornings or evenings, but a few months back, management got a new contract, a so-called government complex, located in one of the strangest, most isolated places I've ever seen. I can't say exactly where. But picture this, a massive 6-story concrete building surrounded by a sea of cracked asphalt and a tall barbed wire fence. The nearest main road is miles away, and beyond the fence, nothing but dark woods and silence. At first, I didn't think much of it. The pay was decent, and everything seemed routine. But once our overnight staff started quitting one by one, I was asked to fill in for a few weekends. I needed the overtime money, so I said yes. Big mistake. It was around 2 a.m. on a stormy Saturday night. Rain was hammering the windows, thunder shaking the walls. I was on the top floor, inside the control room, where all the CCTV monitors were lined up. With the lights off, I was sipping my coffee, scrolling through my phone, half watching a movie. I got up to stretch and peeked through the blinds. The parking lot outside was empty, rain sweeping across the pavement. But as a bolt of lightning flashed, I froze. Between the trees beyond the fence, something moved. A dark shape, quick, human-like, darted from one trunk to another. I waited for the next flash, heart thumping, but when it came, nothing. The space was empty. I told myself I was just tired, maybe seeing shadows through the rain. I grabbed an energy drink from the vending machine down the hall. When I came back, one of the outdoor camera feeds, the one facing the back lot, had gone black. When I looked out the window again, the camera was hanging by its wire, swinging in the wind. I noted it down in the report and tried to focus on my movie. That's when the access alert beeped on the monitor. Someone had entered a security code at the rear service door, and it had been accepted. My blood went cold. No one else was supposed to be here. There were no scheduled workers, no other guards on shift. I picked up the landline. Dead. My cell. No signal. I stepped out into the hallway, heading for the stairwell to try for better reception. Before I could even unlock my phone, the power cut out. The whole building sank into darkness. The only light came from the faint emergency exit signs as I reached the stairwell door and slipped inside. My plan was to move quietly down to the main lobby, reach my truck, and get out. But halfway down, I heard it, a metal door creaking open at the bottom of the stairs, followed by slow, heavy footsteps. They were coming up. I froze, every nerve screaming. My firearm was holstered at my side, but I'd never actually used it outside of training. I decided to head back up instead. At the top floor was a ladder leading to the roof hatch. I could hide there if needed. But as I turned, my gun brushed against the railing with a loud clang. The footsteps stopped. A few seconds later, they started again, faster this time, pounding up the steps. I bolted. My boots slammed the metal as I raced up the stairwell. When I reached the top, I kicked open the door hard, letting it slam shut, a diversion. Then I climbed up the ladder and pressed myself under the hatch, holding my breath. I heard the door below burst open, and the man's footsteps stormed into the hallway, fooled by the door noise. That was my chance. I dropped from the ladder, hit the ground hard, and sprinted down the stairs. He realized it too late. I could hear him spinning back, chasing me. My legs burned, heart pounding. I didn't stop until I reached the lobby doors. As I pushed through, a crash echoed behind me. Maybe he tripped, maybe he fell. I didn't look back. Outside, the rain was a blur. I jumped into my truck, slammed the locks, and floored it out of the lot. When I finally got signal, I called the police. They arrived 15 minutes later, and we went back together. Nothing. The entire building was empty. But in the stairwell, at the exact spot where I'd heard that crash, the officers found something on the floor. A loaded, unregistered handgun or no fingerprints, no trace of the intruder. To this day, no one knows who he was or why he wanted inside that building. But I still remember the echo of his footsteps, and the moment I realized how close he had been behind me in the dark. It was my first night on mobile patrol. I'd been training for just a week, learning procedures, report writing, and how to handle late-night site checks. That night, I was paired with Dan, a senior guard with more than 10 years in the company. Quiet guy, mid-40s, the kind of person who didn't waste words. We were assigned to the West Toronto-Mississauga route, checking small plazas, clinics, and pharmacies after closing hours. It was cold and raining, one of those early spring nights where every streetlight hums louder than usual. By 2:30 a.m., we reached a medical plaza that included a small family pharmacy, a dental office, and a physiotherapy clinic. As we pulled up, Dan frowned. The pharmacy's front glass door was cracked, hanging slightly open. Rainwater was sliding inside across the tiles. "Alarm didn't trip," Dan muttered, glancing at the patrol tablet. That was odd. Motion sensors should have gone off. He radioed dispatch. "Unit 12, checking possible break-in at 44. Queenway Medical Plaza, alarm panel unresponsive. Static. No acknowledgement." "Probably the storm," he said. "Stay by the car, I'll check inside." He grabbed his flashlight and stepped into the building. The automatic lights didn't turn on. Power was half dead. Just a faint blue glow from the emergency exit signs. I stood outside near the patrol vehicle, the rain tapping against my jacket hood. I watched through the glass as his light beam moved across the shelves, then disappeared behind the pharmacy counter. 1 minute passed, then 3, then 5. I called on the radio again. Nothing, just faint crackling. I hesitated and then went in. Inside smelled like wet cardboard and alcohol. The air was heavy, quiet, like the whole plaza was holding its breath. A few product boxes were scattered near the front counter. The main lights were out, but a dim glow leaked from the storage room door in the back, half open. "Dan?" I called, no answer. The floor near the prescription area was damp. Footprints led from the entrance to the back hallway. But they weren't Dan's. These ones were smaller, barefoot and wet, as if someone had walked in from the rain. My stomach tightened. I raised my flashlight and slowly moved toward the back. The glow came from a small emergency bulb. Above a metal door marked "Stairwell Access," I could hear something faint, a drip, or maybe breathing. I tried my radio again. Static! Suddenly that light above the door blinked out. Pitch black. I froze, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Then a noise, a soft scrape like shoes or skin against tile somewhere to my left. I swung my flashlight. Nothing. The beam hit rows of empty shelves, shadows stretching long and warped. That's when I saw it, Dan's flashlight, lying on the floor near the storage racks, still on, pointed toward the stairwell door. "Dan?" My voice cracked. I took a step forward. That's when my radio suddenly hissed. "Unit 12, motion detected inside pharmacy. Both of you should be outside." My hand went cold. I looked up at the small CCTV monitor above the counter, the one connected to the internal feed. It showed the front section of the store, and a man standing there, a guard, still facing the camera. Same uniform, same badge. But it wasn't me, because I was watching from the back room. The figure tilted its head slightly, and the screen glitched, static tearing across the image. When it came back, the frame was empty. That was enough. I turned and ran for the exit. But when I reached the front door, it wouldn't budge. It was locked from the inside. I hadn't locked it. I pulled harder, slammed my shoulder against it. Nothing. Then I heard something fall in the back, metal clanging on tile. I didn't look. I just kept yanking the handle until it gave way, and I stumbled out into the rain. I sprinted to the car, hands shaking as I radioed again. This time, the signal went through. Within minutes, police sirens were echoing down the street. When they arrived, I explained everything. The door, the lights, the missing supervisor. They searched the building for nearly an hour. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, no Dan. They pulled the CCTV footage, corrupted. Every camera feed was blank except one, just a single frozen frame. It showed me standing inside near the counter, and a dark silhouette standing inches behind me, face turned toward the lens. Dan's still missing, and I haven't done a night shift since.